What is up, guys? The Vandy Blitz is back from our little hiatus, and today we will be getting into some fun segments with the championship games in the NFL and finish off with the big UFC card coming up. So, to start off, we'll get into the Chiefs versus the Bills. Wacker, you want to take us away with what you think for this game?
Sure. So, if it were a traditional week in the NFL, this would be a really, really thrilling matchup. But I think we all maybe have the same sense that the Chiefs would probably take this game. But, with the uncertainty surrounding Patrick Mahomes, the concussion, maybe he comes back, maybe he isn't 100%. Maybe that shook up the confidence of the team a little bit. If they have Chad Henne taking snaps, I don't see this team beating Buffalo. I think this energized Buffalo. I think Buffalo's riding a high. I've been saying this for the past couple of weeks. This is their first playoff run since 1998, and they're farther than already most people thought they would be. Even though the Bills were expected to win against the Ravens, I feel like, at least here, the general consensus was that the Ravens were a team that we expected to beat the Bills. Maybe not me, but the general consensus was that. And this week, with the uncertainty surrounding Mahomes, even if he is back, the big play potential of this Buffalo Bills team, this Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs combination, this energy that this team has because of this playoff run that hasn't happened in so long for this city, and the support of the fans, the Bills Mafia is going crazy. Honestly, I think Bills take this, depending on the circumstances at quarterback for the Chiefs. Again, hard to make a staunch prediction right now because we don't know necessarily.
I think let's predict as if Mahomes is playing.
Okay, so we're gonna predict as if Mahomes is playing. Then that changes things a little bit, but I still take the Bulls in a 30-27 game.
Yeah, the thing that I think about is the most important. Obviously, Mahomes being injured, any quarterback being injured, and we saw Chad Henne is incredibly inconsistent. He's not.
You
really
see that throw, that one bomb that the Browns intercepted? I was like, what in the?
That was embarrassing.
What are you thinking?
But what I was gonna say is, I think a lot of people look past the aspect that Patrick Mahomes does run the ball when needed. And he makes plays with his feet, and he'll pick up those first downs every now and then that we look back at Mahomes and we obviously think insane passer, like more of a passing threat, which he is, but overlooking because he's not going to be going for those runs in this game. I guarantee you if he plays, Andy Reid's going to say, no matter what, if you have to scramble, you're going to throw the ball away. We're not going to take another chance with you because it really didn't even seem like he took that hard of a hit when he got the concussion. And obviously, I can't judge. Obviously, it was probably a very hard hit. But I'm saying that they're gonna want to be careful with him. They're not gonna want to risk it because even if they win the game and he's injured, it's at what cost? They'll end up losing in the Super Bowl. They need Mahomes. They cannot make it with Chad Henne. They barely survived with him playing the last drive or whatever. So they need Mahomes, and they got to make sure that he doesn't injure himself. But we got to keep in mind that the potential of those little maybe a third and long or third and short where he runs it and it keeps the momentum going, we won't have that anymore. It's going to be Mahomes playing it.
That is a big aspect of the Chiefs offense. They are unpredictable. They could run it, they could pass it, or they could run it with the quarterback, and they could, throw it 60 yards or 4 yards. That's what makes them so dynamic. But that is something that's taken out of this game. So that's an interesting point, regardless of if he does play. Just something I wanted to put in. Andrew, I know you were trying to say something. I think I heard something about Mahomes passing all the in-stadium tests that he needed to pass. So I guess there is some optimism about him playing generally, which is why we're going to be predicting it this way, which is why Wilf said that earlier for you viewers at home, because it's looking like he's probably going to play. So, yeah.
Obviously, what Josh Allen and Diggs and what that offense is doing is really special. But what a lot of people are overlooking about the Ravens-Bills game this weekend was it was really the Bills' defense that won them the game. And I think that's the matchup to watch because if the Bills' defense can stop the Chiefs to 20 or less points, they will win the game. That's what the key is.
The Bills' defense, though, they're inconsistent, I guess you could say, but
absolutely.
Honestly, when you're looking at it from a scale of season by season, they were elite. 3 seasons ago, the Bills' defense was one of the most elite defenses in the league. They were a brick wall, hard to get past. It was the strong point of that team. It seems as if they've transitioned more to this offensive focus, this offensive coaching focus.
And that's yeah.
But can we expect the defense to step up, or is that more of something that comes and we're like, oh, holy shit, that just happened? I don't know if we can necessarily go into this game and say the Bills defense is the matchup to watch. That's what's going to make a difference, because what the hell do we expect from them? Like,
Yeah, but
they've
the thing about these playoff games, and like we saw it so clearly in that Breeze Brady game, like these games come down to like the smallest of margins, like one takeaway, like one sack in a big moment, one big play is like that's all that these teams need to really like pull ahead. So like as you want to say that, like it's like in my eyes, it's like whoever's making that play. And I think what the Chiefs are going to do, again, we're assuming that Mahomes is playing. He's been a limited participant the past 2 days. I think what they're going to want to do is really control the ball. And if you look back to the game they played earlier in the year, they outpaced the Bills' offense by 200 yards, and they really pounded the ball. Clyde had like over 120 yards.
Is he back though? Is he back? Is he healthy?
I saw him practicing. I don't know if he's healthy, but I mean, they still have Bell and Williams out there. I think that they're going to control ball, and I think, at least in my opinion, I think the Chiefs' defense is better than the Bills. They looked really sharp against the Browns.
And one more thing that we want to think about when we think about the Chiefs, you look at the stats, and I always like to go back to it. They were first in total yards per game, and they were first on total passing yards. Rushing yards not as much because we were talking about that Clyde injury, but they just have those playmakers, and I think it was you, Jacob, that just said it. It's that one play, that momentum, and the Chiefs are such a momentum-driven team where it's like, for me, they've had one loss the past 2 seasons. It's too good to be true. Or 2 losses because of the Charger game, but it feels too good to be true. And
Yeah.
I said that last week with the Bills. I admit I was very wrong with the Ravens. I will never ever bet on Lamar Jackson again.
No, you can't say that though.
Lamar Jackson.
We had a conversation about this on the podcast. You guys were all saying Ravens because Lamar step it up in the playoffs. We've never seen that, and he got. I mean, not his fault that he got injured, but even before he got injured, like wasn't what we anticipated from Lamar. So
he's Giannis Antetokounmpo for the NFL. He's the guy that he's very one-dimensional. Giannis can't.
Don't make that.
Lamar can't.
Giannis Lamar. I don't like that. I like more like a Damian Lillard Lamar. But
really, Damian can do everything.
Flashy, entertaining, regular season player. Gets to the playoffs, can do something once in a while, but you don't expect him to really go all the way in the playoffs every year. Oh, snap. Hodges has joined the call. One more thing I wanted to say about the Chiefs Bills game. Hodges, that's what we're talking about right now, the Chiefs Bills game. Before maybe we'll let Theo get some thoughts on it and then move on to the big, what I see is the big matchup of the weekend. The Brady game. Le'Veon Bell, his career has been pretty tumultuous, and is he still that dynamic playmaker potential guy? Because on the Chiefs this season, I haven't heard shit about Le'Veon Bell. On the Jets, he had some moments, but I didn't really hear shit about Le'Veon Bell. But on the Steelers, 3 years ago, dude was the best running back in the league. So,
and I don't think that has anything to do with Le'Veon. I think that's just the position. It's so expendable. And
so then the question is he going to be a guy, if Mahomes is not playing at 100%, that we look to as a difference maker in this game? Is Le'Veon Bell a potential X factor for the Chiefs?
I don't think so. I think he's a great running back, but he is not the running back he was in Pittsburgh.
If you want to talk about controlling the tempo, though, I mean, I remember watching last week when the Bills were playing. It was a crazy stat. In the first half, I think they only ran the ball once, and I could be wrong, but it was they were passing every single play. There was no runs. There was no design Josh Allen runs. There was one handoff to Singletary. So are they just gonna switch up the whole their whole strategy against the Chiefs and try to also play ball control? Who knows what's gonna happen? I also want to add one more thing. In these games, and this just makes it even harder to decide who you think's gonna win. In these games, it comes down to coaching, and I would put Sean McDermott up against Andy Reid. Obviously, I think Andy Reid's better, but it's they're both very good coaches, so it's very hard to decide what's going to happen. We'll see. I mean, Andy Reid with that call last week, that gutsy 4th down on the 50-yard line, that's the kind of calls that's this guy's either an idiot or a genius, and he shows every time he's a genius. So,
Yeah, it's just a really interesting matchup. Just to recap for Theo before we move on to the next game, I predicted the Bills take this game. We're working under the assumption that Mahomes is going to play. Not necessarily saying he's going to play, as the Mahomes we know, but that we're going to assume that he's going to play. So I said Bills. Why don't you guys recap what you said, and then we'll let Theo go, and then transfer to the Bucks game.
Yeah, I was saying that what the Bills have been doing is great, and obviously I made a mistake last week counting them out, but I think what's really important in these championship games is being home. And one other the Chiefs are so momentum driven where I just don't see it happening. And even if Mahomes is not the Patrick Mahomes we know, they have so many stars around him to cover that up and play through that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs as well. Obviously assuming Mahomes plays, I just think that he's not gonna lose this game.
I got Chiefs.
I'm riding the Bills. I'm excited.
As much as I like to see
another upset in the Vandy Blitz. In the Vandy
Yeah,
Blitz.
no, this is definitely a tough one to choose, but I don't know. To be honest with you, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Chiefs. I agree with Andrew in that your home field advantage is huge, especially when you can have fans at the game, which I'm
limited fans. It's not like
it's still fans though. Still people cheering you on.
And in Kansas City, they scream loud enough to make it feel like it's like a normal.
In Buffalo, they jump on so many broken tables and scream so loud you'll hear them from across the country. So the fan support. I mean, I guess the home field advantage. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being stubborn, but I like the Bills.
And that's not me taking anything away from the Bills. They're obviously a great football team, and they've proved that up until this point. I also was on the Ravens train last week, and obviously that was a silly thing to say, but I think this is where the road stops for the Bills. I think the Chiefs are going to take this one, and like Mahomes is injured, but I don't know. I just don't see the Bills winning this game. I think regardless of whether Mahomes plays at 100% or 75%, he's still going to have a day and show why he got the amount of money that he did. And ultimately, I see the Chiefs winning this game. So